Hello, you are listening to Jump and Shoot, a gaming podcast. Today is Friday, January 22nd, 2021. And this is another episode of Jump and Shoot Sidequests, a series of more quickfire discussion-based mini podcasts where there is no plan, there is just a subject. And today I'm joined by LordShmup.
How's it going?
Hey, and what are we talking about today?
Stardew Valley, my friend.
Mm.
This is a game that's been hot on my plate for a lot of hours recently, but also last year. And I just checked my Switch. I am 175 hours deep at this point.
Whoa, that's a lot. You know what? I think I may be close to you on that.
Oh yeah, you're playing on PlayStation, right?
I have it on Switch, and I have it on PC and mobile, and also PlayStation. I think I put the most hours into my Switch version, though. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
At some point, we need a collaborative ad of all the hours across all the platforms from you, because you probably beat me at that point. Yeah, that's my most played Switch game, and it's a farming simulator, which is, I don't know, I mean, kind of odd to say that's the most time I put into a game, because it's been, I don't know, since probably Harvest Moon, Nintendo 64, that I actually played and really got into and enjoyed a farming simulator. So in some ways, it's kind of weird to say to people, hey, it's a really fun, immersive game. It's a farming simulator.
Right, and it came at a good time because Harvest Moon is, for all intents and purposes, dead. It's like a ghost of a series now.
Yeah, I think someone was telling me about that recently, if not you, about how the rights may have changed or something to that effect, and now it's
basically Story of Seasons is the Harvest Moon, made by the original developers of Harvest Moon, and Harvest Moon, it's just a shell of its former self. And I think one of the things that we'll probably be coming back to a lot in this episode is the developer was just one dude, ConcernedApe.
Mm-hmm.
And
very impressive.
Dude. I mean, what a wow! Like the fact that he did all this himself, and it's testament to like the entrepreneurship potential of gaming, right?
Yeah,
like,
and
everything, like sales he mostly did, like music. The only thing he didn't do is like QA test it, because you can't really QA test your own game.
I think maybe one of the updates he had help for whatever reason. I saw another person's name, I can't recall his name, but it was like this person helped with this portion of it.
Oh yeah.
But beyond that, I mean,
porting the game to different consoles. Yeah, I know that there was something, and maybe you're right too. Maybe there is like something somewhere after like 1.3 that was help, like somebody did help with. But as a whole, this game is not collaborative. It's very it's a dictatorship.
Solo dev. Yeah.
Yeah, solo
Dude,
dev.
I think for a reason that the game is so great is like shutting off of the one person solo dev. It's like how many hours we both have sunk into it. So the replayability is through the roof.
It's huge, and I've done pretty much everything in it. I can't really think of something that I haven't done, and so I still come back to it like once a year, and I run through it. So it's a fantastic game in every way, and I'm really, really excited to see what ConcernedApe does in the future, because he's working on a new game now.
And really, I was only aware of the latest update to it that came to PC. Hasn't come to consoles yet, but I didn't know there's another game in addition to that in the works. What's that one all about?
Oh, he hasn't said anything. It's very hush.
Oh, of course.
Right. The only thing he said about it is that it's in the same world or universe as Stardew. So I don't know what that means exactly. Like, it's not going to be in the same, like, it's not going to, Stardew Valley is probably not going to be a part of the game, but like maybe what are they called? The Juminos?
Yeah, the Junimos.
Juminos, yeah.
Maybe we'll find them in a different city. We're no longer in Pelican Town, which, how does that work? Is it Stardew Valley is like the state and Pelican Town is the city, or?
Yeah, I guess that's never clearly defined, or maybe it is and I'm just stupid.
My wife just started playing the game, and she asked me that, and I was like this.
You know
I
what's
can't answer
funny?
that.
Because you just asked that, and I had to say, I was like, wait. Like the wind is just taken right out of you.
It's like, how many hours do you have in this? Oh, 100 and you don't know the difference between Pelican Town and Stardew Valley? I'm like, no. But there are Junimos, so that's what's important. Let's
There
change the
are,
subject to the
yes.
Junimos, not the name of the towns or the city or whatever.
Exactly, and there are definitely Juminos. And
Is
you
it
know, it's
Yeah, I messed that
I
up.
think it's
Jumino?
Jumino. Yeah, I don't. So again, our hours are betraying us, but
It sounds like a candy.
it does, and they kind of look like they'd be chewy and edible too. Uh, just a real quick aside, I have to admit that usually when I play games, I don't get super into the lore. Like I am a community manager slash like mod admin of the Discord for ease, and like I feel like I know the games pretty well. Like I can talk to you about gameplay wherever, but like there's a lot of lore bits that I just don't know.
Oh,
And
man.
I try to keep full disclosure on that, and it's like my rationale behind it is that, and I've always talked about this, and whenever we talk about games as like a service or as a product, is just that like lore changes. It's not something that's always set in stone, so it's difficult for me to rationalize devoting more time into learning the lore. I'm just lazy though.
I think
Really, when it comes down to it.
I think most of it in the game is not useful. It's just fun tidbits to find. For example, when you increase or better your relationships or your friendships, that will change some stories and the way that it'll like maybe show you an animation or after you get to a certain hearts, it shows like animations typically. But I think beyond that, the realm where you're like, let me stay away from that is when you can go, you're good enough friends with them that you can go in their bedrooms and then read notes or their diary. And then it says like telling information that you wouldn't have otherwise known.
Mhm.
But it doesn't really change anything. So it may just be another like a fun checklist that's not visible. But it is kind of all right sometimes to me when you update the friendships and find the stuff like that. I streamed it yesterday and found a couple like sad portions of the game. So I was kind of surprised. I'm like, how is this like uber happy, peaceful game have these small sad tidbits? So I was like, maybe I shouldn't be looking into the lore.
So, I fully contend that Stardew Valley is one of the best games of this generation, if not top three. And it's because of the sheer scope of emotion and writing and depth and like passion that I see in this game's dialogue and in this game's storytelling. And it's very subtle, it's not grand or sweeping or epic, but it doesn't have to be. And like there's just little things that contribute a lot to it. I think a really good example of this is like is Sebastian. Wait, is it no, not Sebastian. Oh God, what's his name? The
The drunk?
depressed guy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
God,
I
what's
got it
his
right
name?
here. I'm finding it because I thought you were going to go into that where the different characters kind of bring on different personalities and emotions. Where that person is the more, I would say, more so depressed than the alcoholic because Pam is the alcoholic and she's
Oh
definitely not
yes.
depressed. She's just like,
Well, is she though? Is she? So
um,
that's what I
I think
like
she's
about it.
bitter.
Right. Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. It's like even though the NPCs and the villagers have a very distinct like archetype
Shane.
or characterization. Shane, that's his
Yeah.
stupid name. Even though they have a very distinct archetype, there's always a little bit of ambiguity in their stories and in their plots, and so I think that lends itself to like the beauty of art because I think the best art is ambiguous and it's not like spoon fed to you, and I think that's just a reason why Stardew's storytelling just excels, and just like little things like there's like the Sundara character whose name I also forgot, like the sporty girl. What's her name? God
The
damn it,
one,
the cheerleader
yeah, the
girl.
preppy one. All right,
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep this out because we're gonna go through the characters, which is definitely easy because I got my Switch right here.
Hell
I think
yeah.
you're thinking of the prissy one, right? The
Yeah,
Emily,
what's no,
not
not
Emily. Sorry.
Emily. Haley. Haley.
Oh, yeah, she's at my bottom because I haven't been nice to her.
Yeah, no, she's sometimes it's difficult to sort of
sway her to
to
befriend
get
her.
in, to get in. It's but yeah, so like her, like you have these ideas of like who she is, and eventually that gets broken down. And I feel like the game does play with the Sundara trope with her arc too.
Yeah, she's one that I haven't befriended in this play or my last play, so that's just more discoverability for me, which is cool. A recent way I found to try to help with that to boost more people's is just go to the bar, go to the saloon at night, and everybody there, you can just buy everybody a beer. You do that 2 nights in a row, and you level up
Yes.
everybody's friendships. I found that out without looking at this the Stardew Wiki, and I was so happy about that.
There's a lot of little tricks. Also, when you start to get a ton of resources and you can clone your minerals and stuff, giving people diamonds, or most characters diamonds, is really, really helpful for that. There's like a lot of little tricks. I think what is it? Daffodils are pretty much ice cream. When you buy ice cream in the summer, like everyone loves it. I think like 90%, 95% of the villagers love it. So yeah, no, there's a lot of little nifty tricks. And speaking of which, I think that's another thing that like really gets me about this game. So this game definitely has optimal ways to deal with situations, because it's a very multifaceted game. You have like the farming elements, the social life sim elements.
Yep, friends.
Yeah, the more Minecrafty mines stuff, and
Yeah,
then,
fighting.
Yep, and then you have the overall like carrot on a stick, which is the community center / your grandpa's asks.
Yep,
for
and foraging too.
And foraging, yeah.
Can't forget the foraging.
Can't forget the forage, which I always do.
And
Always
fishing.
Fishing, yeah. Fishing is.
There's so much to it.
Mhm. Oh, I would. You know what? I'm trying to be like. So I'm trying to streamline it, so I would put foraging and fishing in the farming element, even though it's not.
Okay.
You're not hoeing fish. But so like, there's like an optimal path to deal with each of those things. And one thing I always hear about Stardew Valley, and people are like, "Oh, it's just so relaxing. I just put it on. I just hang out." And dude, not for me.
What?
Not for me.
Okay, so this is our back and forth then, because I find
Right,
the game
yes.
just to be stress relieving and peaceful, and I think I have an idea of why that is. I think the first playthrough for me, I kind of felt more stressed, where I thought there was not enough time in the day. I want to complete these tasks. I want to complete all these tasks. I want to go to the beach. I want to forage all in the forest area. I want to go to the secret forest area. And it's like I have all these ideas of what I want to do, and then also water all the crops. And it's like, well, what time is it? Like 5 or 9 p.m. at this point? Can't go to the mines because I don't have enough. Like, I need to drop off all my supplies first. Then you got to wait to go all the way back. And that was a more stressful for me the first playthrough. The second playthrough, I just found it just be, well, I know a bunch of stuff anyway. I know to keep and collect a lot of items for the community center. But my first playthrough, I think I just sold everything to just try to get some money. So it was a little bit different from my first playthrough. But I can relate on the stressful portion, but not as of now. So how do you feel that the game is less peaceful and more stressful?
I have a visitor here, by the way. I don't know if you see him.
We've just upgraded.
Yeah, we're now 3. But
how does the pupper feel about foraging and fishing?
You know what? I think he's as useless as the dog in Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Just is
Yes,
just
what's it
useless.
for? What is the dog for?
I don't know, but he does have a happiness meter. And every time that you like fill his water bowl or whatever, he gets happy. Like it adds +1 or something. And if you say hi to him, I don't really think it has any use. It's just like a cosmetic thing. But
Essence.
yeah, so let me try to explain the reason why I find it stressful. I mean, in essence, is it stressful? No, because it is very much like you're just doing your thing, and like, yeah, there is the natural stress of trying to not pass out in the mines. But as a whole, I don't think that that's really a pressing issue. My thing is that I like to do everything optimally. So the very first time I ever played this game, I was like, oh, this is really cool. I like it, but I felt overwhelmed, And I got to the end of spring, and I was going into summer, and I was like, my sad farm. my farm was so sad. I had like no levels in fishing. I was just like, it was just pathetic, and I and I felt
And
like
then
I was
everything wilted when the
everything
seasons
was
changed.
wilted.
And
I was confused. I didn't know that was a thing. Grandpa was severely disappointed in me. And so what I did was I went to sleep. I was playing it in bed, and I got to summer, and I put, and the game had been out for like 2 years or something, or a year when I had played it. My girlfriend actually played it before I did, about a year before I did. And I went to bed and I was kind of disappointed. And I woke up 4 hours later because I dreamt about it, and I was like, "Fuck it." And I got up and I went to my computer and I opened up Excel and I was like, I'm planning out my playthrough.
oh no.
that's what's gonna happen.
On the first day, we go to Pierre's and buy some seeds.
Right? No, dude, that's literally what I have. So I have a very specific game plan, and my
And in
goal.
winter, we upgrade our weapons.
That's no. And so what I do usually, in a nutshell, I beeline toward fishing, and I do fishing for like 5 days. And if you do it really well and super optimal, you can max it by 5 days.
What?
If you do it even faster, you can get the legend fish before spring ends.
I see
So
where you're going now.
that's always what my goal is. And so while I'm fishing, I end up getting a ton of eatable fish, and I could sell a little bit of it and whatever. And then by the time like the fest rolls around, I have enough to buy. I think it's something like 200 strawberry seeds or something like that. You don't want to go too high or too low, because if you go too high, then you're spending too much time. Like the output of like your stamina to water the plants is not worth the cost investment.
Dude, I want to know where your unlocks for the energy meter boosts lie in here, because
okay,
some
yeah.
of those are by season, and like you need a certain type of fruit to feed to a certain statue to get energy boost, and then it's like you can get a couple in the end of season events. What's one of them?
Yeah,
You could buy one, I think.
Yeah, there's one you could buy. I think it's in fall, summer?
That sounds about right.
Maybe summer.
It-
And then at the end, you get one too, I believe. At the end of the first year, I believe that there's one that you get. And then there's one that you find in the like the hidden forest area, but you need an upgraded axe to get in there.
And also, if you get married and you
if you get
treat your
married,
wife well,
which
or your partner, whatever it is.
it depends on how I feel that day, how well they're being treated. But no,
Dude,
yeah.
when they give you a gift, just give it right back.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm all about. There is that really offensive term Indian giving, which sucks. So I vote that we change that term to Stardew giving.
Stardew giving, just regifting.
Regifting is just what, like, yeah. And fuck anyone who ever says Indian giving, because they suck. But so like when you do this strategy, and by the way, you have to do a little bit of everything. Like you have to forage like during salmonberry season, because you get a ton of salmon berries and you level up your foraging.
Yeah, when you level that up, you get like 3 per, and if you get another, boost that up all the way, you can choose to get all your foraged items to be of highest quality, which is just money in the bank every day.
Hell yeah. Just dollar bills. But like the thing is that you don't really need to upgrade your meter if you have a ton of stamina increasing items. So with all those things, I usually go into the mine around day 7, and then I just get some iron just so I can make the iron tools. But either way, my plan is to get all iridium tools by the end of spring, and then I have max fishing and whatever else I can max.
Do we start in spring? Because if you're getting all that, you get that your goal is to get all iridium tools by spring.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I gotta ask you about iridium, because my first playthrough, I recall it being very prevalent, but with this one, I can only find it really in the skull caverns.
Yeah,
is that the place where you're supposed to get it?
The best place that you can get it, yeah.
Because I found it at the bottom of the regular caves, and I was like, okay, this is the place where I must have found the last playthrough. But this one, I'm like, I can only really actually find it unless I'm really lucky in the caves, in the skull caverns, which I guess until I knew that, I was getting a little frustrated. I'm like, where's the iridium ore at?
And even in the skull cavern, you can get unlucky. I guess I should clarify. I've only done like all iridium tools once, but I usually have the important ones. Like I'll have the iridium fishing rod
Yep,
and
definitely need that.
the uh, the the pickaxe
Pickaxe
and
and
the
the
axe.
regular axe. Yep.
And that's all you really need, because
Yeah,
around the
I
end of
didn't.
spring you start getting. Oh, and then you use the rest of your iridium for sprinklers. So,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
by the end of spring, usually I'll have my farm automated by that point, or almost close to it.
That's good
So
because
the whole spring is just, dude, it's like min max city,
because
like
that really circumvents the need for the iridium upgrade, the watering can. Because like,
mhm.
yeah, that will some. I think that will upgrade a little bit automatically as you farm. I think that helps
Yeah.
once you upgrade. But I'm like, I'm not gonna spend my good earned ore, my hard earned ore on this stupid watering can.
Right.
And then I upgraded the trash can. I don't recall that last time. I'm not sure if that was
Oh
new
yeah,
or I
that's a
just
new
overlooked
update.
it.
Yeah, that's a
Okay, I
new.
was wondering about that.
I think what happens is like, I'm not exactly sure what it does. I think that it could sometimes recycle materials that you use,
Yeah, you
something like that.
snagged like the iron one, and you can get maybe 10% of what you could have sold it for, and then it
Yeah.
increases as you upgrade it. But I don't really use it that much, and I typically when I need to make space, I just throw junk in there, which I don't think it gives you any money because it's junk, like
The stuff like
trash.
broken CDs and
Mm.
trash. I wouldn't throw that away. You can actually refine the CDs into what's that other?
Uh, it's like a light blue,
Yeah, the
purplish
light
type
blue.
hue.
I forgot what it's called, but you refine that into stuff. Usually early on, I'll
Quartz,
save it.
refined quartz, I think.
Oh, refined quartz. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Early on, you can just sell it because money is pretty tight.
Yep.
But yeah, so like my plan is really just I go super ham during the first couple seasons, and then once winter rolls around, then I go casual. And during winter, by the time winter rolls around, I have pretty much everything maxed, and then I just
Goodness.
devote it to building relationships.
I think you need to do a speed through or speed through. Excuse me.
Speedrun.
Yeah, speed run through.
Man,
A speed
I
run through
thought about
Stardew.
it. I thought about it, but it's wild. There's so many things to consider. Oh man, I don't know.
I
I don't. I just don't know.
I wonder if people have done that on Switch because like if you did that on
Oh.
PC, I'm sure you could possibly mod the crap out of it. But like a real legit playthrough, I would like to see speedrun because when I'm looking at my hours, I'm like, dude, I completed the community center year 1.5 just now at my playthrough currently. But before, I'm like, it took me like almost, I don't know, I think I got up to 90 hours and I started a second farm a little bit, but probably like 70, 80 hours for me to roll credits. And then I played a little
Hmm.
bit afterwards. How long do you recall taking you to complete year 3?
Oh man. So the first time I went through the game completely, it took a while because I definitely capitalized on that fishing glitch, which is not in the game anymore. I don't think.
Oh, what was that all about?
Okay, so in older versions of the game, what you can do is, so when you cast your line, you open up your inventory, and that freezes the time. So all you have to do is just like exit out of your inventory and quickly press whatever button when you hear the fishing sound.
Ah,
So that, your time is not passing while you're fishing, basically. I mean, it does vary incrementally because you still
mhm.
have the time that like you cast and the animations and stuff. But like you can get like 8 times more fish with that glitch than you could normally.
I can
So
imagine. Fishing is fun though. I think it felt like something may have been fixed since I played last, or I'm just way better at fishing this time around. But I remember the bar being so small and it being so difficult to catch fish.
it's a little bit
And
of both. He did make it a little easier.
I thought so. I kind of felt that way.
But
I'm like,
marginally. I don't think you would. I think you just got better, really. You
because
got
I think I leveled that up
professional.
first more than anything because I really enjoyed fishing and it's kind of fun. And you know, there are legendary fish, which one per season, which is kind of fun that you find those or you hear about those based on finding the books that
Hmm.
you unlock or dig up and they're in the library. So it's funny because like we've been going for a bit now, and I feel like we've barely scratched the surface of like what is Stardew Valley besides just a
Yeah.
farming sim.
Right, like we talked a little bit about the mechanics, and to me, that's something that we could talk about for 4 hours and still,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like what is Stardew Valley? Like, I mean, what do you? I think it's a very pragmatic game. You really, you get what you want out of it. There's a lot that's like sort of laid out for you, for sure,
Mhm.
but you really do. You have to invest yourself emotionally and practically and all that kind of stuff to really get into it. And like for example, for me, my pleasure in it is like the anal retentive kind, where I have to make an Excel spreadsheet and whatever. But like, I mean, that's like that reflects in the way that I play the game in a not just like on a philosophical level, but also how the gameplay progresses. So, like I said, I wait for a while to start talking to villagers, and by that time, it's like kind of winter. Time has passed, and like emotionally, I'm sort of disconnected with people because I'm
Mhm.
so busy, you know, being an Excel fuckhead.
Accelerating at farming and avoiding your friends and neighbors in this
Right.
tiny town.
Right, and
And
that says something. That says something deeper. I think. I mean,
but
I
by
mean,
the time the social season is over, I am now ready to come out
I'm
and play in the wintertime when everybody is staying inside.
right, and that's oops. Maybe that just it just be like that sometimes. But
And
yeah,
there's different gifts you can give people, and people dislike them, they like them, they love them, they hate them, and then you can only give them a gift twice a week. So I think
mm,
this was like a challenge for me initially because I didn't look up the wiki. But this
mm,
time I was like, I'm definitely looking up because I want to marry this person. So I know what
right,
they love, and I stock up on the poppy seeds, and I give them the penny twice a week because you can only give them stuff twice a week. And it's kind of funny because that kind of keeps going deep into different layers as far as if you find information in game that states what they like, or if you do a trial and error, and then if you read on their birthday that like doubles it somehow. It's like there's so many
mm.
different ways you can go to just fail at friending or succeed. Which yeah, buying folks beer at the bar is definitely an easy way to go.
Right. This game has very emergent storytelling and very emergent, I guess, gameplay too. Because, like you said, a lot of it is trial and error, but there are hints here and there
Mhm.
that show that kind of thing. Like some NPCs you'll give an item to, you're like, oh, this person's definitely gonna love this. It's totally in line with their personality, and then they don't like it. Like Abigail is a good example of this. There's a lot of things that I gave her. I was like, she's gonna love it, and she just spat in my face, And I
Can
think
you?
that goes that it says something deeper to me, because that says the way I read it anyway is that like maybe the social persona isn't really who they are completely.
Yeah,
Or
because there are some stories that do kind of change, or as far as like finding more information about the person. I mean, I guess the game's been out for a while, so I don't think we don't need to talk about like, oh, this is gonna spoil the game because it's been out for
right,
like how long at this point. But
4 or
I mean,
5 years, 5 years,
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
I found out stuff recently in this playthrough that I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Like there were a few different portions where it's like one of the characters says like, hey, I'm not certain, but I think one of the villagers is my kid. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh huh.
I I think that's who is that? It's like Willie or Gus
Yeah.
or
Well, there's also the wizard. Spoilers.
that's what it is.
The
That's what it is.
wizard
Wizard.
and Abigail. That's like, but it's never explicitly said. It's just very heavily implied.
And then they both have purple hair, right?
Right, that gives it away. I feel like the influences in this game too, developmentally, are pretty immense. I mean, obviously there's Harvest Moon. Tonally, and like in the music, there's a lot of Chrono Trigger, FF6, 16-bit Square stuff,
Mhm.
and then you see kind of almost like a Link's Awakening approach to some of the villagers, and the way that the village itself is laid out feels kind of like that. Because like so you played Link's Awakening, right?
A little bit, not too in depth though.
So
Full disclosure.
yeah, no, I mean that's fine. I mean, but like the village itself is kind of, it's not super clearly laid out kind of like how Stardew is, where
Kind of
you kind
sectioned
of
off.
sectioned off and partitioned in a way that's like a little bit unintuitive, but it gives more life to some stuff.
I would definitely agree with that. At first, it was kind of like confusing. Where do I go? And
Mhm.
finding new areas was nice, but again, trial and error, finding why you would need to go to those areas. Finding that different fish reside in different, lakes, ponds, river, the sea. At first, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just fishing, and this is all connected. But no,
Mhm.
different seasons, different fish are in different areas, and finding like you mentioned the secret woods. That section's closed off, and you need to
Mhm.
upgrade your axe before you can even tackle that. And I think a funny thing is the way that you said, like, you kind of have a beeline direction where you go, where you take on specific tasks in this order, and I'm just looking at the shiny object over here and over there, and
Yeah.
this person needs an albacore tuna, so I'll go see if I can find a tuna. Or it's like, oh, by the way, I found this item that I
Mhm.
needed for the community center, and I just kind of go back and forth to whatever direction I need to go. Oh, I'm fermenting this wine, and once it's upgraded, this can go to the missing bundle. And what can I do in the meantime? I need to upgrade this area. Or so I definitely don't have a structured approach, if you will. I'm just kind of going wherever the game leads me and pulls me in different directions, and I'm cool with that because I don't know. I think it's, again, my second playthrough, and you mentioned the music, and the music is just fantastic. And I can't speak on the influences that brought this music to life, but I will say it is some of like the best music
It's
in a
so
video
good.
game.
It's so good.
Sometimes you just kind of vibe and it's really chill, and other times, speaking to the tone of the game, like in the winter time, sometimes it's just silent, and
Hmm.
it'll take a minute
More
for the
often than
music to
not.
kick in, and you're just like, okay, this, it's cold and desolate, and just everything's white, and there's no excitement, and
Very
everything's dead.
sparse. Yeah, I
And
think
then,
that shows in a lot of the tones that he used. Like, like the summer music has a lot of sitar. It sounds like hazy. It's like
that's a good way
almost
to put it.
desert like, right? It's like a lot of like sort of like repetitious swelling sounds. And then you have winter, which is very sparse and kind of ambient and just like tonal, like just like little fragments of keys and like harmonics here and there to give it more space and feel like colder. And then like spring is just very upbeat, it's lively
Yeah,
and
bouncy.
bouncy, yes. And then fall is just kind of like it's like very bittersweet,
Yeah, things are changing.
melancholic a little bit, right? But it bounces between that sound and kind of a more like, let's get it done because this is the most laborious season and
Yeah,
cleaning up and getting ready. So it's like I very rarely see a game that uses music to that degree of success. And because a lot of times video game music is not like scored to the scene or whatever. And there are positives and negatives of either approach, but I think like that auteuristic approach of like, this is my game, I know what I want to do, just works so well. And even
yeah.
though in theory it is kind of like maybe a little trite that like the music completely like sort of illustrates the scene, but at the same time there's a lot of room where the music does its own thing, and it's like it's mysterious, or like the tone of it doesn't quite match, and I think that that's intentional. And I think that
Mhm.
that's like, I don't really ever see video game music that well integrated.
It definitely grabs your attention. I mean, I do recall music that I even said out loud to my wife, I'm like, "This music's, like, motivational right now. Like, I'm kinda feeling this. Like, I'm gonna go do some tasks." And then other times, like I said, in the winter where it's silence, like, that's definitely intentional, and it just kinda feels like, "Alright, not a lot is going on." And then it kicks in, and it's kinda sad, and I don't know, kinda brings down the vibe a bit, but then again, you can just use that time to go elsewhere. It's like if you don't wanna, vibe with that, go to the mines.
Right,
Go to
exactly.
go to the skull caverns, go to, the desert. The desert has great music as well. I think that may also, maybe not, but I think it could also use, like, the sitar, which is like,
It
that area
does,
has,
yeah.
like, awesome music.
Hmm. And yeah, usually sitar is used for like desert, sounds, Middle Eastern tones, and
Sounds great.
yeah, I love it personally. I cannot play sitar, but maybe one day. But yeah, I don't think he really used any live instruments on the soundtrack anyway. I think it was all programmed, but like it just so one of Falcom Sound Team's biggest, I guess one of their biggest like adages or approaches to their music is the melody has to be hummable,
That's
and
what they're like require.
yeah, and I think you definitely see
Perfect
that
for a video game.
right, and of course, yeah, and that's like the way video game music is. It's like it's supposed to be short, looped, very melodic, and easily memorable. But Stardew is like it has that for sure. With like the main theme, or the Pelican Town theme, they're very like short, melodic, memorable parts. But at the same time, it's more than just that. Like there's a lot of tracks on here that don't sound completely like video, quote unquote, video game music. They sound like the album leaf, or like, oh man, there's a lot like indie rock stuff too. There's a lot of like of that tone in there for sure.
I'm trying to think because, well, generally speaking, I love the game's music, and I will hum it, not sing it. I will hum it, like you said, outside of the game, and then before my wife just purchased the game, but even prior, she would start humming it because I was humming it. It was such a catchy tune. I think the portions where there's not a lot of music and it's kind of just like sound effects, I think is in the caves. It's got like those like water drippy sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And we already mentioned the winter where there's no sound. You may be able to hear the crunching of the snow beneath your feet, I believe.
Yeah, stuff like that. Oh, that's a really good segue. A lot of the sound design in this, like, because all the sound effects are either Foley sound effects. So that means, like, like if I want to get the sound of like something falling, I'll take this cup and, hit it against my desk and then record that sound and process it and change up the tone in whatever software he uses. So he'll like record his own sounds or use a keyboard effect, like just like on like a like one of the preset things in a keyboard and fuck with it from there. And that's so sick. That is so sick and meticulous.
Yeah, it definitely comes together well at the ocean when you just listen to the sea and the breeze, and you can like kind of hear it swelling.
Mm-hmm. Hell
And
yes.
like that area was amazing. I was really impressed by that, honestly. You just sat there and just fishing, and it's just like the whoosh of like the water coming in, and I thought that sounded amazing, honestly.
It gets you, man, and that's why I got so distracted on my first playthrough, because as in case you can't tell, I have like a severe case of ADD. I can't sit still. I can't like
Keep it the same platform.
Right. Well, to be fair,
say mobile, PC, PS4, Switch.
To be fair, that was like every time I replay it, it seems like I play it on a different platform. So I think that's yeah. But it's like I
ConcernedApe, take notice. Take notice.
I am your biggest fan. No, there are people who are way bigger fans than me. But like, it's very difficult for me to stay focused in games unless I give myself a very direct, very disciplined approach, which I have zero discipline. So like the whole Excel spreadsheet thing, we're bringing back to that again. That really just helped me focus in a game where I could easily lose myself and like get distracted, which is exactly what I did the first time I played it. Like I did spend a lot of time in that in the beach area, just feeling the vibes, man. And that definitely distracted me. I mean, not that that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I just think it's part of the game. It's it's definitely natural. I mean, the way that it pulls you from area to area, especially in the beginning, you don't know the town, the people, the places, the routes, and then you start figuring stuff out. It's like, hey, I can also dig through the trash cans. Then, hey, also sometimes there's stuff in there. So now maybe that becomes part of your daily. It's like, then you find all the trash cans in a row and you hit them all up. And then you're like, okay, well, start to find different daily activities like foraging on the beach, where Joey remains there for most of the day. And
where I'm still there. My favorite.
You shacking up with Elliot?
Yeah, hell yeah. Me and Elliot, man. No, Elliot sucks. Elliot he sucks. But I like the risk versus reward element of digging through the trash, because it's like if somebody sees you, you lose points with them.
Yeah,
And
is it full
it's so
heart,
good.
or they just get embarrassed? They look down at you, they're like,
I think it's
"Stay
like
out of my trash can, peasant."
I think it's, and we've established during the last live stream that I am indeed royalty, so I cannot be seen as a pest.
I'm the trash panda.
Yeah, yes, you are the trash panda in this. No, I'm kidding. But I don't know exactly what it is, how much you lose, but you definitely like lose points in some way. And I think that's super cool. That's super dynamic, and I think that also plays into this sort. And I've been kind of hinting a little bit at this as we've been talking, but there is such an interesting casual versus hardcore dynamic in this game, where it allows for fluid movement through both. And that's kind of like how I like to approach it, where I like to go hardcore and like min max, and then slow down and smell the flowers and be a filthy casual.
And give people beers.
And give people beers and ice cream, and just kind of hang out and like like try to get Abigail to send me feet pics.
But please send them Abigail for research purposes.
But please just hit me up. My number is 312. No. So
that does play into like the whole friendship with Linus as well, because Linus gets caught digging through the trash, and he asks you, and this is once you like advance your friendship with him. He's like, "Hey, do you think what I did was wrong?" And you have a chance and a choice to say yes or no. And there's a little bit of that throughout the game. And I think that may affect your friendship and hearts, because if you say, "I think you did wrong," like that was disgusting, he's not going to like you more. He's going to dislike you. And maybe that's playing into what you want or whatever. You're just an evil person in Stardew Valley. Like,
right. And you get to live out
that. Man, you're trash.
you get to live out that RPG element of it for sure. But at the same time, the game isn't as like punishing. It's not like a WRPG or something like that BioWare makes, where you're locked into choices, or that BioWare used to make, but that's another subject. But yeah, you're not like locked into these choices completely, because even if you say "fuck you, Linus," you could kind of remedy that by giving him flowers, because he's easy to please.
Kick off rocks, or kick rocks, Linus, but also the next day here's some berries, and like we're friends again.
Exactly.
Kick off
rocks. So yeah, no, I really like that aspect to it. I kind of wish that there had been more, I guess, binary situations where you make a choice and you're stuck with it. The only real one is the Joja Mart / community center thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of a weird choice to make, pretty early on, because you're like, I have no idea the repercussions. And like you say, if that may be the only one so early on, it's like that kind of stinks. But at the same time, just replay it and change your choice if that's what you choose. I still didn't do that though. Did you?
I did for the trophy, and I felt so fucking dirty, dude. It feels so dirty. It's not right.
Writhe in that dirt, because that is an awful decision. You are rude.
I can't know. I think I did it for the feet pics, okay?
And he got him too.
And I got him because I'm a filthy capitalist. With needing my stinkers.
Up with Joja Mart, down with local business. You heard it here first, folks.
Exactly. Fuck local business. Embrace Joja Mart. Long live that. No, that's so antithetical to who I am as a person. I just can't do it. And like on the alignment chart, I'm like probably not in the lawful section. I'm probably somewhere in the middle. But like in video games, I have to be either completely benevolently good or disgustingly evil. But while I'm disgustingly evil, I don't enjoy it. It just doesn't feel right. Maybe that's like Catholic guilt getting to me, somewhere.
It's catching up.
Right. I've long shed any semblance of like religious affiliation, but it's still
prevalent in video games.
Got me. Yeah, exactly.
True colors are showing, but only in the video game world.
but only in Stardew Valley. So,
yeah, only in Stardew Valley.
But that's again, I bringing it back to like the sort of meta concept is that like that your personality does come out so much in games like this. I think more so than more life sim stuff like Persona or what's another really big like life sim or Animal Crossing. You know, like your personality does not show nearly as much in those games as it would in this, and I think that's why this game is so successful and so strong. And oh man, I have nothing but good things to say about how engrossed and absorbed I get, and like just like figuring out even though I know what happens with all the characters, just like knowing that they're there, and it's like it
Talking about their
feels
daily lives. It's kind of a real life community because they do different things at different days and times and seasons. So it is kind of funny, even if you beat the game on a random rainy day in the summer, a particular person could be in a different area, and sometimes that'll set off, sequences where if you have a high enough heart friendship with that person, something will happen.
mm.
I,
Oh yeah,
I
the
feel like
events.
there's always like a little bit of discoverability. I feel like my buddy is like 200 or 300 hours deep, and he's still finding new stuff, and it goes to show again how high the replayability is. And to end the previous conversation, I do feel that there's not enough choices in the game that actually take effect. I wish there were more,
Mm.
but then again, we're also coming off the cuff of like how many hours we've played this game, so it doesn't really affect the replayability. But
Right.
it would be really cool to see things change for better or worse with people or the environment outside of the Jojo Mart. Jojo Mart.
Right. So I think this game it sets standards that are almost it's like he how do I describe this? The game is presented in a way that looks retro and it looks sort of like simple and minimalistic and blah blah blah. So it sets this mindset that there's not that much to the game on a deeper level, and then
I
it's
feel that.
very quickly broken. The
Yeah.
problem is that when it's broken and you see the depth and the scope of the game, you just want more and more. Right?
hmm
Like is this is exactly why we're having this conversation. And like you said, it's off the cuff of like having played this for so long. But I think that you start to realize that even if it's the first time that you're picking up this game and you don't know anything about it, you realize within a couple hours that it's a little bit deeper than it may present itself as being. And then your standards start to expand and you start to want more. You're like, you go into the mines and you're like, oh, that's sick. That's so cool now that there's like this combat in there. And then you do a lot of it and then you're like, I kind of wish that there was more. I kind of wish that there
Yeah,
was like
a little
there
bit
were
more
bosses or
combat
puzzles.
or different
Something.
because you do just simply go down in levels, right? So it's like you're on a level and you can mine all the rocks, you can fight all the enemies, and then you just go down. And
Yes.
the environment changes a little bit, and sometimes it's not just like a big old square. Sometimes it's a swirl or different areas, but more or less you just go deeper and deeper. The not the seasons don't change, but the environment changes a bit. But it kind of feels like there could have been more to that. And I think that is like a theme throughout the game in many different ways. It's like it goes pretty deep on some levels, and as far as like we touched on fishing where they change per season. There's legendary fish, one per season, certain area, certain
Mm-hmm.
time where it's like you need to find a hidden note to find the information in the game. And then you're already past that season. So you have to wait another year, and just
Yeah.
hit up
You,
your Excel spreadsheet and put, hey, in winter, go to this spot.
you know what? I guess that we talked about like there not really being any like giant like strongly punishing things, but there are. I mean, if you, I guess there's subtleties to that too. Like if you miss one of the recipes on the channel, the cooking channel, they'll do reruns, but it's still easy to miss that. There's certain events that you could easily just skip by. I missed the shit. It's like one of the first town events. I missed it on my first playthrough because I got
Oh, like
distracted.
the egg festival?
Yeah, I think it was the egg festival, and I just missed it. Like even though it's pretty obvious, the game tells you 600 times.
Go to this area, this date, this time. But
Mm-hmm.
it's funny that that was the one that you might be thinking of because that is in another area of the game that you can only go to for that festival. So it's like,
Right.
hey, I get to cross this bridge that was closed off. Okay, what's over here? And it's just a big old field.
Right. Well, I think that plays into that plays into the mysticism and the magic of the game, because when you're like super acquainted with these like the same areas that you see all the time, when you start to see something new or something new presents itself, it feels huge.
Yep,
Right.
it's like what's over there.
Right. That constant prevailing sense of what's beyond, like it's almost like the Plato's cave thing, like what's beyond this, is there something beyond this? And I think a good example of this when you first go to the desert, because I didn't know that the desert thing it really existed the first time I played it.
That's gotta be probably one of the coolest ones, because you get to see the bus move, which is like, hey, Earthbound.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100% derivative of Earthbound.
I was like, I love this portion right here just because it reminds you of Earthbound. How awesome is this? And it's one of the, besides the buildings, one of the biggest things in the game. And you could see it move. So it's really cool to see that portion. And then you're just taken to this desert oasis, which, I mean, that's the only area of the game that's like that. And even when you're there, there's more to it. There's like a hidden casino, a shop, and then the skull caverns, and then a mysterious, I'm not sure what you call that, where you get to use the prismatic shard.
Oh yeah, and then you get the sword.
It's just a weird looking area. You're like, what's this for? Then you got to find a hidden note that says, hey, use something here in the desert, and then you just do it. And you get the best sword in the game or the second best.
I think there's like better weapons you could find in the skull cavern, but like it's the most consistently good weapon. Yeah.
I use that right now. If I can find a better man, I will though.
I think I think the best items are the hammers, because they can stun things.
Really?
I don't remember if it's that sword or if it's another sword, but one of the other weapons that you can find that's really good. It like has instant death, so sometimes you could just hit something and it dies right away, which is really helpful for the later floors for sure. But really,
dinosaurs.
The dinosaur. The real end game for the mines is just making a shit ton of bombs and just trying to speed run your way through it. That's honestly what it comes down to. And trying
for
to
the caves or the skull cavern.
The skull cavern, yeah.
Dude, I was using the stairs recently. I was like, okay,
oh, that works
I need
too.
I was like, I need to find these stupid dinosaurs because I need to get a dinosaur egg and then put that in the mayonnaise machine and get dino mayonnaise.
Dino mayo, yeah.
For like the hidden bundle. Which I didn't know was a thing until this playthrough.
Yeah, that's new. That's new. I haven't done that yet. I haven't done that one yet.
So it's cool. I mean, you beat the game before, so when you complete the community center, Jojo Mart is out of business, and I didn't know you could go inside. So I was just messing around one time, like, "Hey, can you go inside here?" And you can, and that's when I found the missing bundle. Which, if you don't want to talk about that, I won't spoil anything for you.
It's fine. I spoilers in this game don't mean that much to me for whatever reason, but apparently there's another bundle after that now in the newest update. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Oh, okay. The new. Yeah. In the new update, there's like new areas. I think characters, people, things. There's ostriches too. I'm pretty sure that's one. Or all the animals that are new. There's freaking ostriches, dude. That's going to be so weird.
Ostriches kind of scare me. They don't look right. It's like kangaroos. They just don't look like they should exist on this earth.
Yeah, very odd dinosaur-looking chickens that can kick your head off.
It's like evil chocobos, basically. It's my Molgoth statement of today.
There has to be like a different requirement to have those beyond the biggest and best barn. There's got to be like iridium fences or something, right?
Yeah, probably. I do want to go back. I will go back to it, and I'll go back to it because of this. And I told you about this. So I was trying to get the platinum for it on PS4, and I got shafted. I did so one of the trophies that's considered the biggest roadblock is you have to beat Journey of the Prairie King without getting hit, and that sucks because there's a lot of. Well, I mean, hey, your name is LordShmup. You're probably pretty good at this.
See, you would think so, but that game gave me some crap. And
yeah, it takes a while to get used to, at least.
Fortunately, I'm playing on Switch, so there is no achievement for the system involved, but I believe there is one for completing the game.
Yeah,
or
if you
a
beat
reward of some sort.
Yeah, if you beat it, you get your own one to use in your house.
Okay.
You get
Definitely
your
got to
own
do
little
that.
arcade machine. Yeah.
There was a different reason I wanted to get that, and I forget what it was, but I definitely want to beat it. And yeah, it's at the bar. It's at the Star Drop Saloon. And there's a second game as well, isn't there?
Yeah. God, I can't. I don't really play that one that much because there was nothing really like needed for that.
And you said the game glitched out on you when you were trying to play it, right?
Oh no. So what happened was I did that, and I was like, okay. The rest of the game is smooth sailing. The rest of the trophies, they're just grindy. It's like, complete the community center. I think one is like build one of each thing. Fill out the fishing compendium.
Oh goodness. Yeah, there's so much to that.
So, but either way, like that stuff isn't like hard. It just takes a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened was I got that trophy and I was like ready to roll, and then I completed the community center. And I didn't get the trophy. And I was
then you proceed to throw the system.
Yes, I broke it. And I was like, maybe it pops at the end of the day, And so I finished the day. Because there's like a once you complete the community center, there's like you wait like a day, and then there's the event. True. And so I was like, okay, so it'll pop during the event. And so I did the event, and it didn't pop. And I'm like, oh, it probably pops when you go to sleep. And then now I've just locked myself out. I can't just reload the save. So now I have to fucking do it. You know what the worst part is though? When I completed the Joja Mart in my first playthrough on the PS4, is that it was fine. I finished the Joja Mart and then I restarted my game to do it the real way, because Joja Mart is not the real way, even though it's the most efficient.
Yeah, not the real way, because it's the most evil way for Wally World.
Wally World, hell yeah. And fuck Walmart though, for real. While I'm on this subject, fuck Walmart.
I thought you'd get that reference. You're from Chicago.
Yeah, oh yeah. So, I'm kind of boned on that. I will go back and get the platinum, but that really just that bummed me out. I you know what, my excuse is that I'm waiting for another opportunity to play it, and hopefully I will do. There's so many things I need to play, but hopefully by summer, I will do that.
We got to find you a different route to go. So you've done the good, the bad. We got to find something new. Or
what about the ugly? What's the ugly route?
I think the ugly route will figure out once 1.4 or 1.5 comes out.
Is marrying Haley the ugly route?
Dude, that might be. See, that could be a challenge, because again, if you didn't know, like if there was no Stardew wiki, can you imagine the extent of like frustration going through all like the super nice things? Like you gave her emeralds and she doesn't like emeralds, or if you gave her diamonds, or same with everybody else. I mean, unless you find those notes that say, hey, by the way, so-and-so likes these things, and this is like a list of, I think one of them is like a Christmas list. It's like these people like these things from Penny, and her mom Pam likes beer, and she's like, and not beer on there, which is like a stupid funny story, because it's like, hey, she's an alcoholic, she lives in a trailer, there's beer bottles that are flooded in the trash can. I don't know where I'm going with this, but
I mean, you're just you're summing up everybody who I went to high school with, basically. So thanks for that.
And that's right there, just going from one thing to the next to the next to the next. That's how I play Stardew as well. I just get pulled so easily by the stories, because the dialogue will take you wherever you want it to. I mean, I don't talk to your nemesis Elliot, but if I wanted to be friends with Fabio, I could go to the beach every day.
Right? Yeah. Who is your partner? Your ideal partner, by the way. While we're on this subject.
So my first playthrough was Lee. My playthrough now is Penny, but I thought to myself, if I play again, I'm gonna go the evil route and help Joja Mart, and then go after Haley.
I see. Well, it's funny because she's not really quite evil when you get to know her, but I feel like she is probably the person who would embrace Joja Mart the most. Although you would think Shane would be, because he worked there and whatever, and you like basically put him out of a job, which is hilarious. In this dead end job. But okay, so here's my problem. This is one of the issues I have with this game, is that when most of the people, when you marry them, they lose their personality a lot. They become subservient, and they kind of become, they just like, and I don't know if this is like an intentional thing, or if there just wasn't as much effort put into this, or maybe a little bit of both. But it was really difficult for me to try to decide who I wanted to marry because of that reason. So
Yeah,
I
it
think,
just kind of hit a wall.
yeah, and it's like I don't like if you marry, because my first choice was Abigail, because I was like like not because of goth GF,
Yeah, not because of the purple hair,
not
not
because
because
of
her
purple
dad's a
hair.
friggin' wizard,
Yeah.
but
Well, my like I kind of hated that scene when like you like mansplained to her Journey of the Prairie King, and you're like well, how romantic is this? Like, because it's like her personality is gamer girl or whatever, and then you go up there and it's like you just like show her up in that video game, and it's like I feel like that's like what most like single dudes on Twitter do, like like
let me show you how to play this game.
like it. Well, I remember I saw somebody tweeted something about like them platinuming Demon Souls, and like someone in the comments was like, "Oh, did your boyfriend help you with this or something?" And it's less like, I mean, like that could be like if you know that person who's saying it and it's said in like in an ironic way, it could be funny, but it definitely wasn't.
Yeah,
And
just being a butthead at that point.
yeah, just some fucking loser who probably can't even platinum the game himself. So like,
It's like, can we get rid of all those weird walls? Like, you're not a gamer girl, and you're not a gamer. It's like we're all just gamers. Like, why do we gotta like separate and wall off and try to put these weird walls
totally.
between us? It's just so weird. I don't like when people do that.
I
It's like,
fucking
oh,
hate it. And
it's like
that's what you do with Abigail. And I didn't like
you know,
that.
Stardew Valley.
And so like, yeah, but either way, I was like, I guess I'll just go with Abigail. And when you marry her, she kind of just like gets depressed. And then when she has kids, it's even worse. It's like, it's almost like she gets postpartum. It's like, it's fucked. It's
Dude, that's
fucked
so
up.
weird because that's a like I didn't mirror here yet, so that's another weird portion of the game where I'm like, okay, there is more sad kind of hidden in here. I think I don't recall anything with Lee, but for Penny, it's like as soon as you marry her, she will just probably like any other wife give you food, and then she'll say, hey, like I fed the animals. And I'm like, oh, that's funny because I have an auto feed in place. And she's like, oh, I watered the plants. And I was like, that's funny because I got sprinklers in place. So what are you
What the
doing?
fuck? I'll tell you what she's doing. She's cucking you because she
She's
does.
overfeeding the animals.
No,
She's overwatering the plants.
she fucks the shit out of. I think it's Sam. Is it Sam? She definitely has a tryst with somebody. I'm pretty sure it's Sam.
There's a cutscene where you see her not babysitting but teaching the kids, and she's like, "Oh, are we gonna climb the tree? Like I saw you do with whatever you said his name was, and like he
Sam,
helped you up in the tree." And I was like, "Excuse me."
Yeah, bitch. But no, it's okay. I actually both love and hate this because I think it's awesome that like, okay, Penny's arc is basically like she's nothing like her mom. She wants to be like her mom is her foil for her, for the way that she wants to live her life. But at the same time, she's quite simple. And when she does get married to you, she fucks around and finds out. But like, it's repeating the same mistakes that her mom made. And I think that's like a weirdly poignant, cynical thing. And I like that because it's ballsy. It's a ballsy storytelling method, but it also kind of, it feels like it sort of locks characters into place. I wish that there had been more outcomes for your marriage.
Yeah, this is where the more options we were kind of yearning for could have filled out these areas and maybe made it not different, not more in depth, but kind of more real, I guess. It's like if
Right.
which hopefully all these things that we're saying, not criticizing ConcernedApe. We're just talking it out. Don't get mad. But maybe this kind of stuff that Stardew Valley didn't lean into, or the things that we were like, oh, this kind of was skimmed over in certain ways. Maybe these are what will be exploited in the next game, which maybe is Stardew Valley 2. Pelican City.
Pelican City. So my guess for that is that it's an RPG. My guess is that it's a JRPG.
That'd be
with
kind
its
of cool,
own
especially with the
innovation.
style.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to use the same exact style. I don't know. I think, dude, I talked about, I just did a podcast last week with my boy John Frank. If you're listening, love you. We talked about our most anticipated games, and maybe it's too soon for love, John. I'm sorry. Maybe that was a strong. No, I'm kidding. We talked about our most anticipated games, and one thing I kind of didn't talk about was what ConcernedApe's next game is going to be, because to me that's like my most anticipated. There's so much potential.
I mean, considering the amount of time that we put into Stardew Valley, if we weren't excited for whatever this dev does next, like we'd honestly be crazy or just too stuck into Stardew Valley.
Right. What is your ideal next project of his then?
I would not be mad at some sort of RPG because I feel like the light elements in Stardew Valley were good for how light they were. It felt like if you go further into that area, it would have been more fun. Like, okay, you can level up your farming simply by farming, and same with combat and fishing and all that stuff. But it felt like if you could have changed things more so than once you get five points per job area, you get to choose, right? For combat, you can have plus 25 health, or you can do more damage. I feel like those elements could have been way more cool if they're diversified and had different or better effects. So I feel like if he went into the RPG genre more, I'd definitely be cool with that. That being said, that would be my choice over anything. I don't see any second choice or runner up, because if he's gonna keep it in the same universe, he's already got the looks down pat, and I think it's a visual 10 anyway. So RPG be cool with me no matter what type. I'd say, I don't know. Actually, I'd be cool with an action RPG.
Yeah, he's kind of proven that he can do that a little bit.
Yeah,
it definitely there's a lot of potential there for that, for either one, I think.
combat is a little weird, but
yeah, it seems like an afterthought, to be honest. And I feel like he did a good job of it for what it is. But yeah, it's not something that could sell the game, I don't think, unless like it really vibes with you for some reason. Which
I think you explore the caves and you're mostly like mining and trying to get down to the 100th level at first, but then you're trying to also survive. So then you're trying to level up your combat. And yeah, sometimes it feels like, I don't know, you can only swing in 4 directions. So it's, with each swing, you cover a quarter of the area. And sometimes it feels a bit loose. So yeah, that could be tightened up, and maybe he doesn't need to improve anything besides the way like it feels or hit detection or who knows what. But I think I might prefer if it was action RPG. I just feel like I have faith in whatever he's going to do next is going to be awesome, because he's keeping it in the same universe and so likely the same art style.
Same. And I have to say, like, I never have any kind of idol worship or celebrity worship or anything like that. I just have a lot of respect for him, and I really, really appreciate the ability to make something so beautiful and good by yourself like that. And I'm sure he's a selfish dick in his own way, because nobody who can channel all those emotions and worked so intently on one thing, there's no way you don't sacrifice a part of yourself for that.
So you're saying he doesn't buy folks beers at the bar like we do in Stardew?
No, I can see, dude, that he's loaded. He's got to be fucking loaded, because
It has to be.
I mean, he made that game himself. It sold 10+ million copies. He has the rights to all the sales now. He handles marketing by himself, I think, now. So fuck. That dude is swimming. He's like Scrooge McDuck right now. That man's DMs are full of feet pics. Let me tell you.
All the Abigails were on that.
All Abigail. Anyone who's ever dyed their hair purple has sent him unsolicited boob pics and unsolicited dick pics. He's got a good mix of all things. I think we've we talked a lot about this, and we are kind of winding down a time now. But there's just so much to speak about this game. Is there anything else that you wanted to say before we wrap up, and like maybe a subject that doesn't get talked about or that we didn't touch on?
Let's see. Specifically, no. Generally, just a fantastic game. I gave it a 10. I did like a short review. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't too in depth, but definitely a 10 for me. I put 175 hours into this game. It's immersive. It's fun. It's relaxing or stressful if you're Joey, but in a good way. In a good way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can approach this game in a couple different ways. I mean, you can go loose or you can go very strategic. There's a lot. There's more to it than uh, first impressions can give it. So I would recommend this game to everybody. First and foremost, I think this developer is fantastic, and I believe the purchase price is $15 on Switch.
It's always on sale too.
Worth every penny. Yeah, half off or full price, worth every penny. And some of my close friends still haven't played it, and they've purchased it. So I've been trying to get them on board to play it. So yeah, final thoughts is this game is fantastic. It's a 10 for me. It's a visual stunner. Music is fantastic. There's a bunch of different elements in the game that give it some diversity, and I got more than my money's worth with the time I've spent with it.
Mm-hmm. Did you get the collector's edition?
I did not get it physically, but I have been scouring Fangamer for all the Stardew merch, and I have been having problems holding back because I want to buy a bunch of that stuff.
Honestly, I have to say Fangamer did an amazing job with that collector's edition. That's probably one of the best collector's editions I've ever seen.
Yeah, people love it, man.
It's really good. The pieces are quality. They look hand painted, even though they're not. But everything just looks very quality. Like the box itself is nice. It's sturdy. It's great packaging, great extras, and it actually inspired me to buy the Hollow Knight one too. And I was a little disappointed with that one. Not terribly.
Off the cup of Stardew. Yeah, I think most things could possibly, have the potential to disappoint severely.
I mean, just the packaging, not the game itself. But I really recommend buying it if you haven't. I'm being paid to tell you this.
Thank you, ConcernedApe.
Right.
And Fangamer.
Right. No, it's funny. I don't think I would ever feel comfortable being paid to tell somebody what else to buy. Even if it was something that I personally could back, I just don't know if I can do it. I'm sure I have a price. So, ConcernedApe, Eric Barone,
Venmo, PayPal.
Yeah, you can. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/podcastjump. You can find me on Spotify and SoundCloud and Google and Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube. I'm starting to upload more things to YouTube. And I think that's all the links for me. How about you, man? Where can we find you?
Twitter.
Where can ConcernedApe find you to pay you, rather?
Yeah, LordShmup at Twitter. Hit me up in the DMs because I've already DM'd you before, and I'm just waiting to hear back. I wrote you, but still ain't called.
it's Eminem Stan.
Yeah,
but with Eric Barone.
Wait.
Yeah. So, are you on Twitch? Are you on YouTube? What are your links?
Yeah, Twitter and YouTube. I'm at LordShmup, and then Twitch LordShmup1, the number.
Awesome.
Because someone stole LordShmup. Who took it? I don't know, but
probably the actual LordShmup, and you have to face him in single combat.
Dude, I'm down. LordShmup, let's go.
So last thing I will say, I hope that you go through Journey of the Prairie King. I want to hear more of your thoughts as a shmupper about what you think about that game once you beat it. Cool. Well, thanks again, man, for joining me here. It's always fun talking to you. I'm glad we finally got a chance to do it. And
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, anytime. And thanks, for everyone for listening. Please check out his stuff. Give him a like, comment, subscribe. I don't know. I don't know how to
Smash that like button, wherever it may be.
Right, smash that motherfucking like button and send feet pics.